My job is to somehow make them curious enough or persuade them by hook or crook to get more aware of themselves and where they came from and what they are into and what is already there, and just to bring it out. This is what compels me to compel them, and I will do it by whatever means necessary.
Welcome to the Black Girls Heal podcast, where we talk about healing our intimacy disorders, unresolved trauma, and building a healthy relationship with first ourselves and then others. Every episode, we will talk about advice you can apply today to break unhealthy patterns and grow in your self-worth. I'm Shena, Love Addiction Coach and Trauma Specialist. Let's begin. Hello, and welcome to the latest episode of Black Girls Heal. I am sending you so much love, as always, today. Happy summer. At the time I'm recording this, it is June. So if you are listening to this in June, I hope that you are having a beautiful summer day wherever you are, and that you are finding fun and joy and community and love out in the people around you and in the environments that you're in. These days, I'm really trying to be intentional about my gratitude and being present in the moment and really trying to take in and feel everything that's around me, which can be really hard. It can be really hard when your body has been attuned to trauma for a big part of your life, and even as you continue to do your body work and learn how to be grounded, there's different levels of learning how to take in goodness and pleasure and all of that. And so that is what today's episode is going to be about. We're going to be talking about retraining your body for good. I'm going to share 3 tips for you to get started or to encourage you to keep going if you've already started. These are going to be hopefully things that are a little bit bite-sized and not too in-depth for you to feel like it's something that you can actually grasp and something that you can actually do. So today's episode might be a short one, but every time I think that an episode is going to be short, that girl ends up being like 56 minutes. So let's see if this is going to be a bite-sized episode or if we are going to make it richer and deeper and really get into it. So yeah, let's go ahead and jump on in. Thanks for listening to this week's podcast. Before we get started, let's take a small break to say thank you to this week's sponsors. So I'm going to say a little bit more about retraining our bodies for good, or maybe training our bodies for the first time for good. So again, when you have long-term trauma, also known as complex PTSD, your body has had so many incidents of trauma to where it has stayed in fight or flight mode, and it's just stuck on or is stuck off. Now, when we talk about complex PTSD and trauma, a lot of times, especially if you grow up in what you may consider or other people consider a good home, and you can't see my air quotes, but a good home. So, you have parents or caregivers who are loving. You can't really connect to having a lot of financial trauma maybe, or maybe just the way that when you look back, you compare your household to other people's households and you're like, compared to them and compared to what it could have been, my family was great. Nobody's perfect, but I had a really good household. And so when you hear words like complex PTSD and long-term trauma, while you're looking for answers for why you feel the way that you feel, it's very easy to discount that because you're like, well, that doesn't apply to me because that doesn't count as trauma. And the core trauma that I've seen in 100% of the women and men and non-binary folks that I have worked with over the last, is it almost 15 years now? Lord, time flies, and I'm so grateful that this is what I get to do, to help people find answers to this. But what I've found over the last almost 14, 15 years of working with people and helping them heal trauma is that the common trauma that everybody has is childhood emotional neglect. And the childhood emotional neglect may vary in the levels and in the obviousness of it, but is present in every single person. So childhood emotional neglect is not about the things that did happen to you, it's about the things that didn't. So some more obvious forms of abuse are things like physical abuse, spankings, beatings, sexual trauma, abandonment, malnourishment, things like that. What emotional neglect does is emotional neglect completely discounts your need for emotional care, nourishment, protection, soothing, and affirmation and validation just for being you. What childhood emotional neglect can look like is you're in a household where you're attended to, but only when you're doing things that they want you to do, or only when they have time for you, or only when they need something from you, whether or not it's something physical, whether or not it's financial, whether or not it's they want you to listen and be in the middle of things, whether or not they're using you as a prop to show off to other people about how good of a father or mother that they are, but you as an individual and them seeing you as someone who deserves to be loved and attended to at all times. And sometimes it's not because they are intentionally trying to be neglectful, but maybe they are working many jobs. Maybe they come from a family where they weren't loved and attended to as well, so they're a little bit harsh and they're not really a hugging person, or they're not really one who uses their words, but that they love you. Like those types of words and stories are what you grow up with. And so you learn to try to push down those feelings, push down those needs, try to learn how to go without. Sometimes people are resentful of having to do that. Sometimes people learn how to live in that little compartmentalized box very easily and very well, or at least they master it is what I should say. Not that that is easy, because having to disown your feelings and having to disown your needs is a tragedy. And it is so, so hard as an adult, one, learning how to identify those needs that you've spent your whole life disowning and minimizing and repressing and acting like you don't need them. Then two, learning how to say that you want them. So one, you have to identify them. Well, actually, step 0 is identify that this is a problem, because many people have learned how to survive by trying to be as emotionless or logical or apathetic as they can, trying to not have expectations of people and things. And you only get so far in life before that gets old and that gets lonely. And you don't ever feel settled, and you don't ever feel full, and you don't ever feel safe enough. Repressing your feelings doesn't actually make you feel safe. If anything, you live your life more on guard, because what you don't realize is all of your repression of emotions actually doesn't make those emotions go away. They're still there, and they're just coming out sideways. They're coming out in your overreaction or your underreaction to relationships. It's coming out in your sickness, in literal physical sickness. It's coming out in anxiety and panic attacks. It's coming out in addictions. Like, your need for emotions and care and soothing has never, ever, ever gone away, no matter how much you've tried to distract yourself or create a life outside of that. So first step is actually, is there a problem here? Maybe there is a problem. Second step is learning how to identify those emotions. Third step is deciding that after you've identified them, that you actually want to do this work. Committing to that is really a big step. And I always affirm, my students and clients when they come into this work, and, they may think, or y'all may think, for those of y'all who are listening, that I'm just like giving like a general welcome message, and I'm like, you've made such a great choice and I'm so proud of you and you made a brave step, and like it might be very easy for you to discount, but you going into this place that is not a place that you can control, it's not a place that there's a roadmap, and you are actively choosing and opening yourself up to potentially address things and learn things about yourself and about people that might be painful. And that, but you've made that decision, and you've made that decision for yourself, and that deserves to be celebrated, right? So then what did I say? The third step is you deciding that this is something that you actually want to do. And then the fourth step is actually learning how to embrace those emotions. And then step 5 is learning how to receive, which is where we're at today in today's episode, is learning how to receive this goodness. So to bring it all together, if I've gone through my whole life either being taught directly or taught by people not ever attending to my own emotional needs and care, then it is really hard for me to be present in my body and present in my emotions. I will spend probably a good majority of my life in order to remain functional to either learn how to discount my emotions or to overindulge in things to try to self-soothe, again, whether or not it is addictions or and addictions to things that may actually be good things, whether or not it is exercise or sex or shopping or, escapism. There's nothing wrong with a trip to Bali. I know I use that example a lot, but there's nothing wrong with these things, building your businesses and all that other stuff. But if you're doing that because you're running from something within yourself, and you're hoping that if you get enough of fill in the blank, that you'll feel okay. What you'll find is that you'll continue to reach these milestones and reach these places, and that cup is never full. There's that level that you're hoping it to raise to, it doesn't ever get there. And that's because that ache starts within you. Whenever I used to teach about childhood emotional neglect, I would literally title the presentation, "What's that ache?" and looking at where does this ache come from and why is it there and what can we do about it. So today's episode is going to be assuming that we've already established that ache. We have already identified where the ache comes from, and we are trying to make active decisions in our life that helps us build a different path. So I've looked at my life. I've already processed, this is where some sadness is. This is where some resentment is. This is where some anxiety is. And I'm feeling all the feelings. And now I was told that if I start to feel my feelings, I'll actually start to feel good things too. And I am feeling all these negative ones and I'm waiting for the good ones to come in, or maybe I'm getting some glimpses of it, but I want more. Like I'm ready for me to feel this more often. And here's the thing. You have spent decades of your life learning how to really focus your life on avoiding these negative feelings, right? And the way that you learn how to avoid the negative feelings, whether or not, again, it does look very pretty to other people, it looks very high functioning through like career and degrees and keeping busy and having lots of friends or whatever it is that you've done, you've still created that life either consciously or subconsciously to avoid these bad feelings. So the focus has still been on them. What that's a habit. And so what you're going to have to retrain yourself to do is how to learn how to focus on the good things and let your focus on the good things be the thing that grows. Kind of like, and I may have given this example before, but kind of like if you were working on trusting other people and you are so focused on red flags and, you can't trust everybody. And so I'm going to be super skeptical of everyone who comes into my circle before I'm even open to learning how to trust them or let them in. Like they're going to have to go through a long-term probation period before I even consider letting them in. What you're focusing on and what your mindset is on is deception, and it's on manipulation, and it's looking for that. And our minds are really powerful things in that they help create the reality that we're looking for. Whatever you're looking for, you're going to find. And that is not discounting the wisdom of being discerning with the people who are around you and not completely letting, a lion or a snake into your garden and not being completely oblivious, saying, well, I don't want to focus on the negative, so let me just let in this predator. No, you can do both. You can be very aware of what is deception and what is bad and what is the pattern of the type of people that you have let into your life, while also simultaneously saying, But I am going to choose to where I'm not going to let these predators and these people who have hurt me before dictate the rest of my future, right? Like, they got me once, they got me before, and they're not going to get me going forward. They are a non-factor in my life, and they are not going to rob me and stop me from claiming the joy, the friendship, the intimacy, the pleasure, and the love that I deserve with people who deserve me, and the people who are treating me and who are available to me right now. I'm not going to lose any more time. I'm not going to lose any more moments. I'm not going to lose any more of my sanity focused on what could have, should have been, which is actually going to be one of our first points. So in order for us to retrain ourselves for good, actually the better way to say that is probably training ourselves for the first time to focus on letting in good things, letting in pleasure, learning how to not expect the worst. So let me go ahead and jump in because I'm kind of starting to bring the points that I have written down out. The first way that I will encourage y'all, that if you have already processed some of your pain and you're looking to get more settled in good things in your life and in the good moments, and not waiting for the other shoe to drop, and not waiting for the betrayal, and not being able to experience the blessings and the abundance that are around you right now because you're so worried about the fear. The first thing that I'm going to suggest for you to do is to be mindful. I'm not going to say stop because we all do this, but be mindful of replaying your past mistakes over and over, and also replaying what could have, should have been. So be mindful of replaying that and ruminating that in your mind, because the reason why we do that is we are trying to self-soothe ourselves. We're trying to make sense of what happened. We're trying to make sense of why whatever it is that we want is not happening right now. We're looking for answers. Sometimes we may also be trying to replay it to create a different outcome. So going through the story over and over again and trying to, where we're saying different things in the conversation and we're taking our power back, and we're doing this bargaining. That's one of the stages of grief, is when you feel like you've lost something, whether or not what you've lost is a person, a relationship, your dignity, your self-respect, your access to love, good moments in your life. If this was someone who you had a lot of good times with, friendships, lovers, family members that you used to be close with, or otherwise, you'll replay a lot of these things because you're trying to, again, make sense of it and trying to kind of get back a little bit of those moments, maybe some of the good moments, maybe trying to replay their smile, or trying to replay a joke, or trying to replay a time that you felt confident in the relationship. But when you're doing it with these negative moments and these things that you feel bad about, or you feel loss around, or you feel embarrassment or shame or humiliation around, or just it makes you feel not good enough, you're teaching your body, and you're constantly rehearsing and rehashing negative emotions in your body. You're teaching your body and really reinforcing it staying in this stuck place. Our minds and our bodies are built to keep us safe, and they go where we tell them to go. Our subconscious mind, our conscious mind, it is always trying to find its own state of equilibrium. It's always trying to find its own state of balance. And when you have a history of trauma and betrayal and depression and negativity, your body has learned that for its normal state is to be depressed, is to have that paranoia, is to not trust people, is to every time something good happens to wait for something negative to happen. So every time you replay that, every time you rehearse that, you're teaching your body that you're reinforcing that this is where we always are going to be. So what happens is, when good things happen to you, when good relationships happen, when good compliments and good experiences happen, your body doesn't know how to tap into, oh, this is good, let me experience it. What it actually taps into, oh, fuck, I know what this means. Let me go ahead and find all the loopholes. Let me find all the reasons why this is going to work out. Let me remember what happened before. Your body is trained for this, right? And so my encouragement to you to not replay these moments is not an effort of you to gaslight yourself. and to act like these things don't exist. Remember, one thing I try to teach y'all many things, but one thing that you've heard me say many times over the years is that two things can be true at the same time. We can exist in a spectrum. We don't have to live in black and white. We don't have to live in either I act like everything is always perfect and everything's okay, which leaves me open to predators and negative experiences. And I also don't have to live in paranoia and distrust and everything is bad, which it may feel like it's protecting me from some things, but it's also stopping me from being able to experience goodness as well. It's stopping me from being able to see and realize when I'm in a safe place because I am so focused on being in my self-protection mode. But we can be in the middle. We can have a little bit of balance. And so, but you have to train your body how to get there. You're not going to wake up one day and all of a sudden be okay with being happy and be okay with being loved and be okay with being taken care of and provided for and be okay with, the first thought that you have in the morning being something that's positive versus dread and versus, oh man, another day. What do I have to do today? Like, you're going to have to train yourself how to think differently. And one way to start that is to not allow yourself to replay the greatest hits of things that didn't go right in your life. Hey, we hope you're enjoying the podcast so far. Let's take a quick break to say thanks to this week's sponsors. So, as a morning person, I am a sucker for a good morning routine to set my day off right. And these days, Liquid IV is a staple in my routine. With me getting 5 essential vitamins and 2 times the hydration in one stick, it is a no-brainer to combine with all the other goodness that I use to start my day. I love all the variety of flavors, and these days, Tropical Punch has really been doing it for me, but there are so many variety of flavors, enough for every taste. And something I love about Liquid IV too is that they give back. So they have donated over 39 million servings to over 50 plus countries around the world who need equitable access to clean and healthy water. So you can grab your Liquid IV in bulk nationwide at Costco or your local grocery store, or you can be really smart and get 20% off when you go online to liquidiv.com and use the code BGH at checkout. Again, that's 20% off anything you order when you shop Better Hydration today using the promo code BGH at liquidiv.com. Be sure to tell me how you like it. So the heat is here, and I know we're all out here making sure we take care of our summer bodies, keeping it right and keeping it tight. But I want everyone to make sure to not only take care of what's happening on the outside physically, but also on the inside physically. And in order to do that, you have to find the right doctors, clinicians, and specialists to help keep your body in tip-top shape, and ZocDoc is the best app to help you do so. ZocDoc is the only free app that lets you find and book doctors who are patient reviewed, take your insurance, and are available when you need them and treat almost every condition under the sun. You can choose from thousands of patient reviewed doctors and specialists, browse doctor profiles, upload and verify your insurance information, and get the care you need. You can book an appointment with a few taps in their app and start feeling better faster with ZocDoc. Go to ZocDoc.com/BGH and download the ZocDoc app for free. Then find and book a top-rated doctor today. Many are available within 24 hours. That's ZocDoc.com/BGH. ZocDoc.com/BGH. Okay? But to more focus on the things that you do want to be different and what would that look like and what would that feel like in your body. Okay? Which goes to the second point. Well, it's my second one. Let me see. It wasn't the second point, but I'll go ahead and put this here. One trick that I like to do sometimes whenever I may feel like I'm starting to spiral or it's really hard for me to think about what it would look like. What is it that I want? Because maybe I'm such an expert on what I don't want, and I don't have access to any current examples of what I do want. So I don't even know how to dream. I don't even know what that looks like. One phrase that I use to kind of kick off my imagination and help me kind of go to these places is when I'm going towards, well, what if this happens? And what if this happens? And what if it doesn't work out? The next question is, well, what if it did work out? What would that look like? And that sounds so simple. Like that sounds like it sounds like that's an obvious statement, but there's just something for me. There's just been something that's just been so magical when I'm in that downward spiral, or something that's just so powerful, and me stopping that and saying, well, what if it did work out? What would that look like? Like I can even feel right now, I feel like a glowing in my belly. I feel like it feels warm. It starts in my belly and it goes up through my chest and it's coming up through my neck. Like to imagine, now I feel myself smiling, and now it's starting to take over. It's going up my head and through my arms and through my hands and down my legs, and like I can't help but smile. I'm trying to keep this microphone next to my mouth. I just can't help but like get bigger and open. Like it goes from being this very closed off and, protective stance that I was just sitting in, to now the world is open to me. My body is open and my mind is open, and I'm happy and I'm believing more. And these are the types of feelings that my body needs and that your body needs to be able to experience and know, oh, one, you don't have to live in this dark cloud, or you don't have to live in this place of dread. As someone who has always been very independent, I think partly because of my personality and also some childhood trauma, but as someone who's always been very independent, your girl can make a plan. Your girl is great at finding what is her goal and what is her target, and making a 5-step action plan on how to get there, and deadlines, and how to make that work. And I can tell you right now, the energy behind making a plan and being focused and like making it go and making and achieving it feels a whole lot different than the hope and the optimism that I just had. And I'm going to try to explain that a little bit. So the first one, making this 5 to 10 step action plan on what's going to happen, feels heavier in my stomach. That feels like a weight. It feels like pressure. It feels like I got to focus and do this or else. And the or else are like negative core thoughts like, if I don't do this, I'm a failure, or I'm not good enough, or other people are depending on me, or I'm going to look so silly if this doesn't work out. And I may be driven, but I'm not driven from a place of joy and happiness. And so it makes that work a lot heavier. It makes it more intense and less satisfying on the journey. So maybe once it's accomplished, it'll be like a little bit of, oh, I did it. But along the way is stress and strife. And I'm not able to relax because I have to get this mission accomplished. Versus if I'm considering what is it that I want and what would it look like if it did work out for me, that feels energizing. That makes me feel open. That makes me excited to work through and to go forward and to do what it is that I want. It makes me excited to get up. It makes me more open to let other people in along the way, versus I'm so doggedly focused on this goal and on this task and on this thing that I want. And until this gets done, I have tunnel vision and I don't really have time and space to let other people and things in. But when I'm in like, what if it all works out? That means that I can have it all. That means I can have love and I can have people and I can have this goal, and I don't have to choose. I don't have to choose, and I can have me, and I can be happy while I'm going through it. I can have little hiccups and trials that come that don't automatically turn on the alarm bells, the 911 alarm bells. But it's like, oh, okay, well, this happens, that's fine, because, every problems happen every day, but it's all going to work out because I have a belief that this is going to work out for me. Like, I hope that I'm able to communicate this. Sometimes communicating things that are more body and emotion based, I worry that they kind of get lost in translation, because these connect to literally different parts of your body and engage different parts of your brain, other than the practical do this first and do this first and do this first. Like, it really does require you to get grounded and feel the difference, to allow the trauma and stuckness in your body to be released. And you don't get that by thinking about it. You don't get that by rehearsing and imagining feeling good. You actually have to feel it in your body. And to do that, you have to learn how to let some parts of your body relax, and also learn how to engage the parts of your body that don't know how to relax, and to not fight with yourself, to not shame yourself for that, to not get frustrated with yourself that this is even something that you have to do. To understand that you learning how to love your body, and you learning how to get in touch with your body, and learning how to take the bodily cues is part of that healing. It's part of the gift that you're learning how to give to yourself. So here, again, I've already started to talk about what the third point is. So the second part of learning how to retrain your body for good is to start to imagine, what if things work out for me? What if things go well? What if it all turns out the way that I want to? Until I let your brain and your body and your mind goes there. And for you to do that, step number 3 is item number 3 is you do need to learn how to train yourself how to be present in your body and to not run. So, I remember when I would first try to introduce these concepts when I was working with women as a therapist. So for those of you who don't know, I was a licensed therapist for 12 years, and I stopped my therapy practice so that I can be a full-time coach here on Black Girls Heal. So through my coaching program, the Recovery School, through here on the podcast, through, social media posts and some things here and there, and some mini courses and programs that I have as well. That is where I focus on helping women now, because I found that I could, 1, reach more women, and 2, giving women access to direct solutions and support was helping them get better faster than the women who I had in therapy. Not because therapy wasn't effective, but it's just different. It's just different processes. And so I believe you need everything. I believe that therapy is transformative. I have my own somatic experience therapist, or somatic experience body worker who I work with to be in my body every week. And she's phenomenal. Y'all have heard me talk about her a jillion times because I love her to pieces. And if I did not have my coaches to give me point blank solutions and tell me their thoughts and give me direct feedback, your girl would be out here floating. Like, I would be lost in the sauce and be like, well, if I can choose anything, okay, but what do I choose? Like that, sometimes you just need someone to give it to you straight and give you direct feedback. And so that is the support that I provide to my coaching students and to my clients, which is literally what you need when you are dealing with intimacy disorders like love addiction, that's love addiction, love addiction and love avoidance and love deprivation, that literally turns off parts of your brain because of the trauma, because of how ingrained it is. And so you need someone to help you snap out of it, or to help give an outside perspective. And especially you need it from a place where it's not, not knocking folks specifically, but where it's not just homegrown knowledge, where you're able to get a combination of, this is what I've seen when it comes to healing and trauma. This is what I have seen personally, what I've seen in my clients. This is how I know that trauma operates, and this is how I know relationships operate. This is what I'm bringing in from my degree in marriage and family therapy, and from when I used to do couples and family therapy all the time, but also this is how you practically address it. I love being able to give that to my clients. And so it's a little bit of a tangent. I just love helping people. But bringing it back, when I would bring up mindfulness and meditation to women and to my therapy clients, there would always be some hesitation. And the hesitation wasn't that they weren't willing. They had already made progress. They trusted me. They felt safe. They felt secure. But the hesitation was getting present and getting still in their bodies. There was so much, they didn't know it, but I knew it. There was so much anxiety around getting still. And what do I do when I'm still? Like, what do I do with that? Like, what's the point of it? So I get still for 5 minutes, and then what? Like, what is that actually going to do to my life? Like, I have this problem going on. I have this problem going on. Like, can't you just tell me to do this or to do that? Can't we just actually talk about the actual solution? Like, me getting present in my body, like, it was hard for them to wrap their mind around how them learning how to get still was actually going to help them get out of that fight or flight response more than supposedly finding an answer to their problem. Because the way that being stuck on in trauma, like always feeling like you have to fight or always feeling like you need to numb out and run away, that's going to be your response forever. It's going to be and there's always going to be a problem. So you're literally going to live your whole life always looking for a distraction or always looking for a way to escape until you learn how to get present in your body, until you learn how to find safety right now, planted on your 2 feet, right now, sitting in your chair, right now, when people aren't responding to the email or when they aren't responding to the text, right now, when you just got that letter in the mail. Can you find stillness in your body? Can you find some type of safety where you don't feel as if you need to have everything resolved before you can rest, only to never actually be able to rest? So the hesitation around finding this 5 minutes to get present and feel your body was they weren't used to spending time just with themselves or just with themselves for that being the only reason. Like, they could go and schedule a 60-minute massage. They could go and do a yoga class for 60 minutes. They could go and, read a book, but to just be with themselves, to just be in their body and in that echo chamber, or not being able to do something to distract themselves and get all that energy out, all that, like that fidgeting. I don't know if any of y'all have, if you can remember, for those of you who are long-term meditation and mindfulness folks, and for those of you who maybe have tried but didn't really work out, but just remember how fidgety it is or was when you first started. How hard it was for you to even get to 3 minutes and be like, okay, what time is it now? Damn, like it's barely been 2.5 minutes. I thought I was sitting here for 10. Like, it's just really, really hard for you to be there. And that's the impact of, that's all of your stored stuff. That is how deeply intertwined your body is with saying, okay, if we stop, something's going to happen. If I slow down, there's going to be a phone call. There's 5 other things I could be doing right now. Someone needs me. I feel guilty for being by myself. Like, that is all your trauma converging into one moment. And part of you reclaiming your body and learning how to experience good is to learn how to be present. And so, the main point that I wanted to share here was not just training your body to be present, but training your body. Once you learn how to do that, then you can train your body how to let yourself feel good and learn how to feel the happiness and feel the pleasure. Me being able to tell y'all what it felt like in my body when I said, well, what if it all works out? I could never have told y'all that several years ago. That would have been a completely foreign concept to me. I could tell you what I was thinking, and I could talk about, well, that thought makes me very happy. But actually feeling it in my body, feeling it radiate, and feeling my body get warm, and feeling myself glow, and noticing the smile, and noticing myself expand, and like letting it like literally go through my fingertips, that I didn't have access to that. And so all of that really takes time, and all of that is part of you learning how to receive. Learning you how to sit back and receive compliments, learning how to receive giftings, learning how to receive help, learning how to receive peace, learning how to receive rest, and letting that be part of your everyday normal, and not feeling like you have to constantly be doing, instead of just being there and experiencing. So hopefully that made sense. I was talking with some of my recovery school students, or I made a post in our community, because I was like, this bodywork stuff is where I know most people get to, after we figure out what to do in your relationships and what it is that you need and what is it that you want, and you start to make these changes. The next level that I notice most of my students are in is really getting deeper and being connected to their body. You know, we start that process as part of the program and part of the things that they learn, but it really is learning how to bring that into your everyday life. And so I made a post. And so for those of y'all who are students who are listening, if you want to join in on that post, I really appreciate it. But I made a post saying the bodywork stuff, I know we already have like a mini course for it that's a part of the program, but how can I support y'all in your everyday life? Because this takes practice. This takes like a reminder to do this a few times a day, and also to be able to have words for what it is that you're experiencing. Like, why am I feeling this in my body right now? What does this mean? And this is what came up for me. I didn't feel better at the end of it. So what's the point of this? And like doing all the troubleshooting stuff, you know? And one of my students responded and talked about her best ways to work through her body work, and, you know, what she feels is safe for in person and what's safe for online, and all that was really helpful. But I just know that this body work aspect is so important. It's so vital. It's just as important as all the other skills and things that you also have to learn, because just because you feel safer in your body, that doesn't mean that you know how to talk to people. It doesn't mean that you know how to choose people in a different way. It doesn't mean that you know how to express what it is that you need and learn how to receive. It doesn't mean that you know how to date in a different way and to change your expectations. And also you don't know how to connect with your partner as someone who is healed from love addiction and love avoidance. Like, there are still skills that you have to learn, which is where the coaching and the support comes in at. But if I can find a way to incorporate this body work for y'all too, like, that would be like chef's kiss. And so it's just, I want to try to do that more, and I'm trying to share that more here on the podcast, and I absolutely want to do it more for the women who are within my coaching container, whether or not it's alumni or new students. I really want y'all to be able to feel and have accountability and have support around connecting to these parts of yourself in your everyday life. So I'm just trying to figure out the right way to do that for y'all, if that's even something that I can do. Maybe it is that when it comes to body work, it's best for this to be an in-person thing. So, you know, we're having our social this weekend in Houston on Juneteenth weekend. So we're all getting together then, and we're going to have a healing circle at the end of the month here in Houston. And I think the topic is going to be learning how to move past disappointment. So I'll be teaching a mini workshop, and we'll be having a healing circle facilitation. I'll be facilitating a healing circle here in Houston, and I emailed it out to our mailing list. And so I said, let me know what cities that, if I were going to do a meetup or a healing circle outside of Houston, what cities would you want me to come to? And so thank you to all the ladies who responded to that. I did get all of your emails. I haven't responded to all of them, but I did get them. And so thank you for that. So maybe it does look like I come and I support doing healing circles or doing some body work stuff in person. I don't know, or just really talking about this so much to where y'all continue to look for your own body workers in your cities of choice. I know that this space doesn't really have a lot of diversity, and they're doing a lot to try to change that. A lot of the training programs that I am connected to, I'm seeing a lot more Black and brown faces, which is great, but there's still not as much inclusion when it comes to that area. So I know that sometimes that can be a hurdle for folks. And so I don't know. These are just things that I'm brainstorming. And so I will continue to brainstorm. Again, my recovery school students, if you want to share with me in our community what your thoughts are. If you're not a recovery school student, but you're like thinking this would be great, I would love support in body work in this way, feel free to email me. And, my team will get it and they'll get it to me. But let me know, what is it that you would like to see? What support around being present in your body would be helpful for you? Maybe that might give me some ideas of what can come next. But in the meantime, The recovery school is where I support you in all of these places. And like I said, there's a mini course. One of our bonus courses are directly connected to body work. And then we talk about other skills and things that are related to getting present in your body. And then all of the trauma and healing and recovery work and learning how to be present in relationships and learning how to self-soothe and learning how to move forward and learning how to connect to people through your love addiction and through your love avoidance to become love balanced and love available and connect to nourishing yourself with love. That is what the program is all about. And so you can learn more about that and to join us by going to therecoveryschool.com. And yeah, that's what I got for y'all today. I hope that you enjoyed it, and thank you so much for being such a great community and such a great audience and really allowing me to come into these different corners of your life and share some support. And like always, take what you need, take the little parts that you need, and whatever doesn't apply, just leave it, and trust your intuition and trust your own internal guidance. So that's it for today. I'm sending you all so much love, and as always, take care of yourselves. Hey, so thanks for listening to today's podcast. If you enjoy what you've learned, it doesn't have to stop here. You can check out the blackgirlsheal.org website and grab the worksheet for this week's episode or any of your other favorite episodes from our shop with an overview of the main points, healing circle discussion questions and journal prompts, and challenges that you can take with you into the week. Also, you can check out any of our other self-study and coaching programs, resources, and freebies to help you heal from the intimacy disorders of love addiction, love avoidance, love deprivation, and the trauma that causes it. The best time to start or restart your healing journey is now. We hope you enjoy all of these resources, and until next time, remember you are so loved, and we'll see you in the next episode. Take care of yourselves.